You ever wonder what it takes for two people to start something that just ripples across the world? A movement that lasts for generations? Well, we're about to find out. We're diving into the incredible story of Jim and Selene Chew, true pioneers who really changed the game when it comes to leading with faith.
See, this isn't just about one couple's mission. It's more like they planted a seed that grew into this massive forest. Jim and Selene's work, it was never just about what was happening right then and there. No, it was always about building a legacy of leaders who would keep that work going, multiplying it long after they were gone.
And for Jim Chew, the title Navigator wasn't some new job. It was just a name for what he and Selene were already pouring their hearts into. Like he said, the vision and the work, that came first. The official title, that was just confirming a call they were already living out, day in and day out.
So, what builds that kind of deep conviction? To really get who Jim was, we've got to go back, way back, to his beginnings. A time of war, and a young man's heart waking up to this incredibly powerful purpose.
Think about this. Jim was born right in the middle of World War II in occupied Singapore. His early life was shaped by his dad, a doctor whose faith was just as strong as his medical knowledge. But it was when Jim was a teenager that, bam, everything clicked into place. He had this powerful conversion that lit a fire in him, this absolute conviction that he had to share his hope with a world that seemed pretty lost.
It's such a simple prayer, right? But it holds so much passion. That one thought, that one plea, it basically became the compass for the rest of Jim's life. It was his North Star, always guiding him back to his main purpose.
And he didn't wait around for some big formal plan. As a young guy, he just went out and started talking to people. In a single day, he shared his faith with 13 of his high school friends. And get this, an incredible 9 of them decided to follow a new path. That's not just idealism, that's faith in action right there.
But Jim pretty quickly realized his calling was about more than just a single conversation. He totally embraced this Navigator idea of disciple-making. And what that means is it's all about deep, personal investment. It's the idea that you pour your life into a few people, you help them grow, and then you watch them turn around into the exact same thing for others. It's this amazing ripple effect, spiritual multiplication.
All right, so with that powerful vision lighting their way, Jim and Selene's mission was just bound to get bigger. What kicked off in Singapore would soon be felt all across the globe, changing countless lives as it went.
This picture just captures it perfectly. That's Jim on the accordion, right there with another pioneer, Roy Robertson. These guys were not afraid to get their hands dirty. They made 8 different trips to hold these open-air meetings in remote villages in Malaysia. This was ministry at its most real, its most personal.
And their journey together was, well, it was a whirlwind. In 1963, they made history. The very first Asian Navigator staff. Just 3 years later, they're off to Malaysia, building a whole ministry from scratch. And then in 1970, a new call comes in, a totally unexpected invitation to take their work all the way to New Zealand.
And you want to talk about impact? Well, the numbers don't lie. Just look at this growth in Malaysia. They start with 20 disciples in '67. 1 year later, that number's at 40. By 1969, it had doubled again to 80. This is what spiritual multiplication looks like in real time. It's not just an idea, it's a tangible, growing thing.
But, their journey wasn't always a walk in the park. One of their biggest tests came when Jim was asked to lead in a totally different cultural setting. And let me tell you, it would require a whole new way of thinking about leadership.
So picture this. This was the challenge Jim was facing. He's 33 years old, and he's asked to lead a team where the average age is 48. Now, in Asian culture, age commands a huge amount of respect. So this was a massive, massive challenge. How in the world was he supposed to lead his elders?
And this was the team he was supposed to lead, the Pacific Area's Navigators, a group of really seasoned leaders. You could feel the tension. One of the missionaries actually said to his face, "I want your job." I mean, wow, the challenge was on.
But Jim's response, it was a masterclass in true leadership. He didn't pull rank, he didn't get defensive. Instead, he chose humility. With that one simple statement, he completely diffused the situation. He turned what could have been a huge conflict into a chance to work together, building a bridge of trust where there could have easily been a wall of resentment.
And that humble approach, it became his signature leadership style. Later on, when he went back to Singapore, he found a culture that was all about tasks, results, getting the job done. But Jim brought a totally different vibe, relational shepherding. He wasn't just trying to build a workforce, he wanted to equip a team. He wasn't a director, he was a mentor. It was a revolutionary shift that built incredible loyalty.
So, after a whole lifetime of service that literally spanned the globe, what is the legacy that Jim and Selene Chew leave behind? What's the bottom line?
While their legacy is just woven into the lives of all those leaders they mentored, the ministries they built from nothing, and the wisdom they shared, but maybe their single greatest contribution was showing a different way to lead, one that's rooted in relationship, not just results. They showed the world what it really means to multiply your impact by pouring your life into others. Now, in a culture that puts so much value on having a family, the fact that the Chews were childless, that could have been a real source of pain. But that's not how Selene saw it. She realized that their unique path gave them this special connection with other couples who are also childless. It turned a personal challenge into this powerful ministry of just understanding.
And that right there is the true measure of their legacy. You're not going to find it in big buildings or fancy institutions. Nope, you'll find it in the hearts of the people they touched. It's a living legacy, carried on by generations of what you could call their spiritual children and grandchildren, who are still out there changing the world today.
You know, the story of Jim and Selene Chew really leaves us with a powerful question to think about. What kind of legacy are you building? Is it something that's going to last beyond your own lifetime? Something that will keep multiplying and growing for generations to come? It's something to think about.